Welcome back to the Dental Marketing Summit series. This is the 7th segment and the final segment. In this segment, we're going to go through mobile websites. We're going to continue basically with the internet, the rest of the subjects within the internet, and then we're going to close with a rather thorough review of the entire summit series to make sure that your questions were answered. These are questions that came from all of our live presentations. We have a person in the back that writes down all the questions that people ask, and we're gonna answer all those questions for you at the tail end of this segment, so that you leave with as many of your questions answered as possible. First on the docket, though, is mobile websites. And normally when we say mobile website to a dentist, I think they view it more as a luxury, kind of. And that's fine. There are many of you who will probably never need a mobile website, or who will never, not need, who would never really benefit from investing in a mobile website, not to a great extent. But let's first review the market opportunity for the mobile website. In the last 15 years or so, our population here in the US and the global population has made an enormous transition away from wired communication to wireless communication. There are now more wireless accounts in the world than there are wired accounts. That should tell you something right there. 68% of the world population now has a wireless account. That is a significant number when you look at the market potential to promote your dental practice. In other words, this is something that you can't ignore anymore.
Right, and not only is 68% of the world population wireless, it's growing at about a 700% clip per year.
Well, yeah, they're surfing. In other words, if you have a smartphone, the amount of surfing traffic using a smartphone, people looking for things on their smartphone, is growing at 700% per year. So you have well over half of the world population that owns a mobile device, and people using that mobile device for looking for things on the internet through primarily Google is growing at 700% a year. So why? Why does that matter to a dentist? Well, here are some realities that is fueling this. Most businesses nowadays, for about $80 to $90, can load internet traffic software on their servers to tell them what their employees are doing during the workday. In other words, what sites are their employees visiting? How often are they visiting sites? Are those sites relevant to their business, or are they for personal use? The employees know this. I mean, they've been told this in meetings, okay? So some of them ignore it and still use the company PC to search for things for personal business, but now they have this thing called a smartphone. And they can do a search on a smartphone just as easily as they can typing onto their work PC. So some of this massive growth in internet surfing through a smartphone is fueled by the inability of the employee to actually do that on their work PC. Because let's face it, during work, don't we all have personal things that we have to attend to, or things that we need to research? And think about the potential markets for this, or the potential people within that market that might be the perfect candidate to become a new patient. Let's take some markets, for instance. Well, let's go back to good old Manhattan, right? My goodness. If you were to walk down Times Square, if you were to walk down Wall, how many of those people have smart? Most people are actually walking down the street like this. They don't even look up anymore. They're just looking like, and they're running into each other. There's so many people, and so many people. You've actually probably seen commercials on TV about mobile devices and mobile device ability to get things done quickly, because people keep running into each other and stumbling over things because they're constantly on their smartphone. They're not just using it to call, they're not just using it to text, they're using it to look for things. People use it to go to lunch. They'll make reservations. They'll search restaurant, Fifth Street, hit the bubble, make a reservation. Done. You got a reservation at 1 o'clock. You didn't have to call anybody, didn't have to use the work PC, right? Okay. So let's take Manhattan as an example, as a place where if you're anywhere near Manhattan or the 5 boroughs or Long Island or anywhere in New Jersey, Philadelphia, any Boston, Metro Center, if you're near any Metro Center, okay, and you've already invested in your .com website and that's up and running, it's optimized, you're doing well there, okay? But you want to broaden your reach and you want to collect people who are looking for a dentist with a smartphone anywhere near those markets. Mobile websites should be rising up in your priority list of things to use a portion of your marketing budget on.
Let's clarify something before we're going any further. There are companies out there that will claim to take your existing .com website and turn it into a mobile site. You have to be careful with that, because a mobile site is its own thing.
Right.
It's a separate entity
right.
from your .com site. And the reason for this is obvious, because you've got a 3-4 inch square screen,
yeah.
right? So if you try and access a .com site on your phone, it's horrible. You can't navigate. You can't see it all. So the mobile site has a completely different format and arrangement. That's what we mean when we say mobile website.
Right. If you look at a real mobile website, and you can do this, if you search for it, use your smartphone, do a Google search for a dentist space Manhattan. And I'm sure there's dentists in Manhattan with mobile websites. I'm convinced, okay? And then click on the website and look at what it looks like, and then look at your .com site. Bring your own .com site up on your smartphone. If you want to see how terrible of a first experience it is for a smartphone user, just take your smartphone, go to your website, and try to do basically anything. And what you'll find yourself doing is you'll be pinching and spreading and moving and sliding and looking for here and looking. That's not the way mobile websites work. Mobile websites are very elementary in their navigation, vertically oriented. You can just go like this and find all the things you might be looking for. You just go bink, and there's the whole page, and the page is optimized for the smallness of the screen you're using.
The real estate.
Yeah, the real estate. So the first thing we want to get through to you is, if somebody tells you they're going to mobilize your .com site, no. All they're doing is taking a picture of your site and shrinking it down to make it basically unreadable and unusable. Okay, so that's not a mobile site. A mobile site is a .mobi extension. A mobile site is something you can actually use and have a good experience using. Use your smartphone, Google Dentist Manhattan, look at a real mobile site and compare it to your .com site. You'll see exactly what we're talking about. Now, who should invest in a mobile site? Where should that priority be in their internet budget going forward? Now, we already identified any suburban location anywhere near any of those major metro areas, or if your practice is in one of those major metro areas, it's going to start floating up in priority very quickly. The growth of this, we're seeing 65, this is a mean average of 65 to 135 additional visitor hits just to the mobile site every month. So there's another 65 to 135 human beings who are learning about your dental practice that you never had access to before, all right? So if you're in a market like that, and then take the other considerations into account. Are you in a market that has a pretty high turnover in population? Examples in the US would be Seattle,
San Francisco.
San Francisco, Washington, D.C. I can't imagine anything more population fluid than Washington, D.C. Every time we have a new president, you know, tens of thousands of people rotate in and rotate out. You know, tens of thousands of contractors,
Staff.
military staff. They all just rotate in and rotate out. And these are people of means. These are professional people who are used to communicating on a smartphone, and they're used to searching for things on a smartphone. So let's say you move to DC. Let's say your person was elected, and you're a contractor, and you have to move to DC. That's part of your job. And you're new to the area. And as part of your personal life, you have to search for things. But you're on a government computer all day, and you know they're watching your internet. You can't do that on their PC. So you're constantly using your smartphone to find things like dry cleaners, right? Car leasing companies. I mean, everything when you move, you're going to need to find. So you type in dentist space Alexandria or wherever it is that your apartment is, and the dentists that are going to show up, here's a real key point. The dentists who are going to show up in that Google search are going to be dentists with mobile sites, not necessarily the highest positioning .com site. Google is indexing mobile sites now. Google knows. Google is painfully aware of what a terrible experience it is to deliver a .com site to a mobile user. So they're recognizing real mobile sites now. And when a mobile user is looking for something, they are delivering a real mobile site.
And they're prioritizing it so that those .mobi sites come up ahead of any .com site.
Right. Now, let's say that you're a dentist in or near one of these market areas, and we'll tell you from personal and professional experience that there aren't a lot of dentists with mobile sites.
Not yet.
Okay,
anyway.
not yet. Okay. So you could be getting in on the ground floor of 65 to 135 mean average new additional human beings learning about you each month before the rest of dentistry catches up. And one thing that I've been working with dentists now for 24 years, you too, okay? One thing we've learned that clinically dentists will adapt quickly, but with business and this kind of thing, they tend to take a long time, okay? So this window of opportunity, determine for yourself what kind of a market you're in, how close you are to that kind of a market, and if it makes sense for you, this could be an investment that could pay off dividends for a very long time, very long time. Yeah. The investment is minimal. It's not something that takes a lot of ongoing financial commitment. You have to get the URL, which is like $12 a year, and you have to have your website hosted, which is almost nothing. So that's a wonderful opportunity. Now, once you have a mobile site, let's say that you have one. It's a real one. And let's say that beside the Google searchers or the people who are using their smartphone to find a dentist, let's say that you want to get fancy. And like your mailer drives traffic to your .com site, you want to use, let's say, ad space, right? What can we think of? Ad space to drive mobile web traffic. How about we get a sign at the local train station, the one that stops right around the corner from your practice. And it's just one of those 2x3 signs that they usually advertise financial services or Broadway shows or things that are happening in the community.
Or transit ads right on the train itself.
Or transit ads right on the train, right. So you're going to rent...
Or the streetcar in San
Right, you're going to
Francisco.
rent one of these, streetcar in San Francisco. You can do this with bus stations. You can do it with train stations. We're talking about consumer avenues of travel, okay? So let's say you have a practice, and let's say you have one of these stops, metro stops that are not too far away from you, and you want to rent the signage on that transit sign for whatever, 4 or 5 months. How do you get the mobile user to your site? And now we're going to introduce a thing called QR codes. They're quick response codes, and everyone with a mobile website or a mobile phone, a smartphone, here's what I want you to do. Right now, I want you to go do this. I want you to use your smartphone, go to www.beatag.com, beetagg.com. And if you go to beatag.com, you're going to see download reader. It's free, doesn't cost you anything. So you're going to download the reader onto your smartphone, okay? And that will allow you from this point forward, you're starting to see QR codes in a lot of things that you read. Your mind may not recognize what they are yet.
Let's describe that particular thing. You can think of it as kind of a barcode on steroids.
Right.
A barcode, which actually revolutionized manufacturing and
Right.
retailing in this
Right.
country, a great invention. It contains a whole bunch of information. I think there's something like 128 pieces of data that can go into a barcode. Well, a QR code has a room for 1,054 pieces of data. So it's, you know, it's a lot bigger, and there's much more you can do with it. You take that reader that Mark was talking about and scan the QR code. It kind of looks like one of those old ink blot tests, you know, that psychologists
Like a
used to use.
Rorschach test.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And you scan it with your phone.
It's easy, simple.
It takes you, the viewer, to a website
Or just a web page.
or a web page
Or a video.
or a video
Or a coupon. Or anything.
a text.
It could take a text. It could generate a text back to you. It could be an emergency.
Mm-hmm.
If you're having a dental emergency, scan this. They scan it, bam, you get a text on your cell phone. It can do almost anything. So what we're trying to do with these QR codes is we're trying to capture the mobile user. Now, in the US, QR codes on the evolutionary scale are relatively new. But if you realized how incredibly ingrained in the culture they are in Europe and Asia, you can project that QR codes are going to become a part of our everyday life very shortly.
Just like barcodes did.
Right. If you get, for instance, if you get Dental Town magazine in your office, next to their articles, next to the advertising, right? More and more advertisers are putting the QR codes in the lower right-hand or left-hand corner. Dental Town is putting the QR code to the article right there so that you can just take your let's say you're in a car or or you're on a train or a plane, and there's your magazine, right? And you just want to drop that article right off into your phone. You don't have time to read it right now, but you're interested in it. Just go blink, there it is on your phone, click save, you're done. You don't have anything else to do. It's 2 steps, click, save, right? Phenomenal opportunity. Specific to driving patients to dental practices, though, you're going to want to use QR codes in areas where the receiver of whatever it is that you're doing to promote your practice is in a position to have their smartphone and not in a position to have their computer right in front of them. Certainly, if you have a radio ad and you say www.imagreatdentist.com, okay, people can go to their smartphone, or they can go to their PC and type in the URL. Here's the cool thing. If they go to their smartphone and they type it in and they hit enter, which site does Google deliver? Well, if it's done properly, their .mobi site, the mobile site, is going to show up on their smartphone. And if they're Googling on their PC, the .com site's going to show up on their PC. In other words, the user doesn't have to choose. They don't have to know. They're not given a choice. If your website knows that it's a mobile user coming in, your server will serve your mobile site. If it knows it's a PC user coming in, your server will serve your .com site. In other words, engaging in the public, you're giving them a good first impression, right? Not a first impression of shrinking, expanding, sliding up, trying to hit your link. I mean, my fingers are pretty big. I can't.
Not being able to read it.
Not being able to read it. Yeah, I have cheaters. I'm not wearing them right now. But yeah, I can't see anything. But with a mobile site, I just go flick, bang, get exactly what I want. There's other benefits to mobile sites. So let's go through a few of these. One of them is what we call SEO Trump, which is you can have a .com site optimized wonderfully. It could be, you could dominate the first 30 or 40% of the first page of Google for 80% of your keywords. But if you have a mobile site on top of that, your mobile site, assuming other dentists aren't, all getting mobile sites in the same month, your mobile site will trump all the .com sites. Google is absolutely positively indexing mobile sites now. It knows what they are. And when a searcher searches for something with a smartphone, it knows what to go send, and it knows what's relevant and what's not relevant. And Google knows that a .com site is almost unusable on a smartphone. So they're smart, you're smart. Those are wonderful tools, could be a great opportunity for you. You have to determine, you can ask us, on the thread for this series. You certainly ask us if we think you're a candidate for it. But it's not a priority. If you don't have a website, a .com website, certainly let's get that started. You got to get that started first, okay? More people go there, so right now, than mobile surfers. But if you had that done and you have that optimized and you have room in your internet budget for the year, this may be a tremendous opportunity for you.
Yeah, especially like we said, in urban areas, because it's difficult to engage the public in downtown San Francisco. What are you going to do? Send a mail?
Right.
That doesn't work in a very concentrated urban area. This is a way to expose your benefits of your practice to people who live and work in these highly urban areas.
Yeah, 70. Well, we said it before in the previous segment. 70 people per hour look for something dental related in Manhattan. Every hour.
Yeah.
Okay. And how many of them are on a smartphone? And over time, the smartphone surfing is going to creep up, to PC surfing. So this could be a wonderful opportunity for you. Determine where it weighs in your priority list for your investing in the internet, and don't ignore it if it's something that you believe is going to be worthwhile. In order for you to get the impact of what we're talking about, just grab your smartphone, go to your own website, try to navigate it as a patient. Forget that you're a dentist and forget it's your website. Try to be a patient looking for, Meet the Dentist. Let's just go to your Meet the Dentist page and determine for yourself what your experience was as a pretend potential new patient in your own practice with your own website. You'll see the difference. Then go find a mobile site for a dental practice, a real one, and experience that, and you'll see exactly what we're talking about. So who should take immediate action in general? And this is in general, but almost any dentist that is geographically located in or near a population of 50,000 or greater, in or near within 4 to 5 miles. That's a pretty densely populated, suburban / close to urban area. Any dentist that's in a market that shows less than one dentist for every 2,000 humans. In other words, remember way back in segment 2, we went through doctor-patient ratios. So the more competitive your area is, the more the opportunity of the mobile searching market is for you, because more of your competition is doing more with their own marketing dollars. And most of them are probably totally ignoring this market segment. They're, I think we can probably count on both of our hands and our toes the number of truly mobile websites that dentists own in the entire country. So that's how robust this opportunity could be. Also, any dentist that is attempting to promote a specific niche. One cool thing that you can do with when you develop a real mobile app website is every one of them has its own unique button, just like sort of a unique link on your .com site. If you're going to promote a niche, you can have its own link inside your mobile website, but then you can use the QR codes to drive the traffic. That is, yes, you can put a QR code on almost anything. If you have a storefront, street front visibility, street level visibility, there's no reason why you can't put a QR code right in the front window, right? With a little sign that says, "We guarantee scanning this is going to make you smile."
You can put it on the back of your team's t-shirts and scrubs.
You can, right.
Because they travel around during the day in their scrubs.
That's right.
Going to lunch, picking up the kids, whatever, going home. And people can notice that. And especially now while they're kind of new and not too many people know about them yet, it's kind of cool.
Right.
It shows that you're kind of on top of things.
In really densely populated urban centers, there's things called mobile billboards. These are typically trucks or vans with large billboards on the back that you rent by the hour. It could be anywhere from $80 to $200 an hour. And I can easily see renting, renting the mobile billboard to travel down Wall Street between the hours of 12:30 and 1:30 p.m. when everybody is on the street going to lunch, going to or from lunch, right? And the mobile billboard just stops at every streetlight, stops behind every traffic, every taxi. And as long as you draw a smartphone user's attention to that QR code, the more they understand what these things are, the more they're clicking them. I mean, that rate of click-through is growing equally at 700%. So anyway, that's mobile websites. That's using QR codes to drive traffic to your mobile website specifically for a niche, or it could just be, doesn't have to be a niche. It could be you could have a QR code on a transit sign that, like I said before, that just says, "We guarantee scanning this with your smartphone will make you smile." The commuters don't know what's going to make them smile, okay? It might, and I guarantee you, if you do have a transit stop around the corner from you, 98% of those people have no idea that there's a dentist where you are, what your hours are, what services you offer, right? No idea. You can have a different QR code on that sign. One of them might be you might have an Invisalign promotion. You might offer $700 off Invisalign treatment, guaranteed to make them smile. You can change it up. You can change it up whenever you want. It's not static, okay? Not like an ad, like a paid ad would be. So you can really get creative with these. It's just growing and growing and growing and growing. And the people that get on the ground floor, who are the people that do the best? People who get in on the ground floor, right? So mobile websites, QR codes, those are some real key points to take home with you. Now we're going to talk about adding strength to your websites. And this is going to be, cerebrally taxing, perhaps.
Perhaps.
But
they're up for it.
You're up for it. What we're talking about here primarily is the use of video. But I want to set it up first, because one of the first things that you have to establish when you promote anything, really, not just dentistry, is some level of respect and trust. Okay, so think about the dental consumer now. Dental consumer searches for a dentist in their city. And what appears? 5 different links for 5 different dentists. Now the dental consumer has to choose one, right? So what are they basing this choice on? Are they basing it choice on whether they like the colors of a website, or I don't know, the text in the website,
There's some great looking pictures of
or
the operatory.
great looking pictures of the operatory? Not okay. That's not how they're making a choice. The point is that the consumer is not just going to your website. If they're searching on Google, it would be a statistical anomaly that they would happen to click on yours and not look at any other dental websites and just choose you. All right, that's not how it works. They're looking at 5, 6, 7, and the higher up in that top half of the dental market you go, the more they look at. So the more separate you have to be from everyone else in your same market. You can't separate yourself all the way with text. You can't separate yourself all the way with just pictures. Text and pictures help.
Mm-hmm.
They're supportive, but they
lack a human quality,
right,
right, and a familiarity. It's hard to make yourself familiar and likable and accessible with just pictures and words.
right,
You can go quite a ways toward that, but by adding video,
right,
you can really reach
right.
that point.
Now, it's not just any video. We have seen, let's just go through all the things not to do with dental website video, okay? Because this is happening all over the place. You'll have somebody's going to go out and buy a flip cam right now and go take a bunch of videos and upload them to their website. Technically, uploading video to a website is not difficult. Shooting a video is not difficult. Acquiring a video camera certainly isn't difficult, right?
Right.
So if it's easy and relatively inexpensive, it can be done.
Yep.
But is it going to help you? All right, so let's tell you, we're going to go through what your videos should do on your website. When your homepage is viewed, statistically, your video should load. You should shoot your video on a green screen so that you can be positioned anywhere in your website. Anywhere that your website developer gives you the room for your torso or your whole body to be presented, you need to shoot your video in a studio, sound studio, lighting studio with a green screen in the back. Your video should run for a max of 45 to maybe 70 seconds, somewhere in there, because if your first video is too long, you will violate the first two rules. Number one, if it's too long, everybody won't view it. Number two, if it's too long, it'll be too big and it won't load with the page well. Okay? 45, 70 seconds.
We had an experience with a doctor who did that, his homepage video, and it was, what was it, 12, 15 minutes?
It was
way too long,
it
right?
was yeah.
And then in addition to the length of the video, you also have to pay careful attention to the content.
Yes.
Because if you start talking about dental procedures or speaking as though your audience were a colleague, another dentist, you're going to lose people. They just, it has to be very consumer friendly.
45, 70 seconds, and that's what Howie's saying is the scripting of what you say and the direction of what you say is paramount. You need to understand what the consumers want to hear from the dentist they are meeting. They think you're the evil empire with the sharp instruments and the weird sounding equipment. Okay, that's subconsciously that's what they're thinking. That's what they're seeing.
And that's what you're trying to overcome,
right,
with this video, by making yourself more human, more accessible, friendly. He's a good guy. Jeez,
right.
She's a great gal.
Right. You don't have to convince anybody of the dentistry,
Yeah.
You only have to convince people that you're not nasty.
Yeah.
that you're not going to judge them for not having gone to your 6-month cleaning religiously for the last 35 years,
Yeah.
right? You're going to need to look like the person who I can ask a question of, right? You need to be the person who communicates to me the positive changes you've made in people's lives over all the years of your experience, right? You can do that in 45 to 70 seconds, right?
Yep.
Okay. If I remember, I'm thinking of the same video you're thinking of. That whole video was shot in an operatory.
Yeah.
Right? Remember?
Yeah.
Dental chairs, hand pieces,
Yeah.
suctions going, and the videos. No, that's not the video you ever want to show anyone. Now, you want to shoot one of these little 40 to 70 second videos for every one of your web pages that presents a marketable attribute. So if you have 10 priority marketable attributes, you need 10 of these. This is a series. This isn't just one video.
Right.
Okay? The meet the dentist part is immediately taken care of. We said multiple times in this series that the number one page that the consumers hit first on a dental website is Meet the Dentist. We know why, mentally, why they do that, all right? If you have an intro video on your homepage, you've totally taken care of that. They have just met you.
In fact, we've had plenty of doctors tell us that new patients that they haven't actually seen yet will show up,
right?
And they'll basically tell the dentist, "I feel like I already know you from
yeah.
your," or "Hey, you're the guy in the video."
Yeah, or "Hey, I know you. I saw you last night." Right. That's the idea. So that you create respect and trust. You break down that first meeting, right? Everybody gets a little tense when they're meeting somebody for the first time, right? Okay. Well, if you do the video properly, you're actually just sitting there talking to this person. So in their mind, they're going to be a little bit more comfortable when they come in for their first new patient exam.
Yep.
Now, you do one of these videos for each one of your marketable attributes so that when they click on sedation, you're going to come up. Now, you're not going to talk about your dental practice or anything else on this page. All you're going to talk about are the benefits of sedation.
How would you like to have all your dental work done in one visit?
There you go. Okay.
Well, we're proud and glad to offer this service to you. Here's how it works.
Right.
That's it.
Are you fearful of dentists? So was I before I became a dentist. That's one of the reasons why I became a dentist, right? You're connecting. That's what these videos are. Now, once you have all your videos and they're all lined up and they're all embedded on your marketable attributes pages, great start. Next benefit. The biggest benefit is more visitors. So if you're getting 100 visitors a month and it's turning into 6 new patients a month from your website now, it's going to ultimately turn into 12.
That's been the statistical track so far.
Right.
That we've been connected with is maybe you're only getting 1, 2. Well, with video, you get double.
3 or 4.
3 or 4.
It's not a gigantic number.
But it's a game changer. It definitely is.
Yeah, it's a big game changer. Now, there's another benefit to this. One that is currently being experienced. Google is indexing the videos. We know they index YouTube videos. They own YouTube, and they're indexing them in 20 minutes. But Google is now able, they're testing algorithms that actually go into the videos, go into the websites, and measure how many people view the video that's on that page. Well, if it auto runs when the page loads, everybody's looking at it. That gives you a Google point, right? Do they watch it through to its entirety? Well, if it's 40 or 70 seconds long, everybody watches it through its entirety.
Yeah, a lot of people.
A lot of people. How many people click out? Very few, right? They even have in beta now software that actually goes into the video to pull out keywords. That's another reason why the scripting is so vitally important when you're scripting and directing, when you're producing these videos. Because if your video has the keywords embedded in them and Google's reading the video and seeing those keywords, your website's going to be more relevant. So these videos, here's the bottom line with video. It's a phenomenal tool, but it probably not for the reasons you think, okay? It's really difficult to do them well, but you can do them well. And those are the rules. We gave you the rules to do them right, all right? If you do them right, you will double your conversion rate. I mean, that's what we're seeing almost across the board.
Yep.
2 to 4, 4 to 8, 8 to 16, it's almost double. The patients, when they come in, are almost already engaged in the subject matter. You know what I mean? So, they're not nervous about meeting Dr. Smith for the first time because they already know he's not going to hurt them.
Here's an addendum to that too. It's not always just about meeting the dentist.
Oh, yeah.
Mom has to have a relationship with the person that's going to help her with her insurance and the financial considerations and
Right.
and that sort of thing. If you've got a treatment coordinator in your practice, and they're very good at conversing with the patients that show up, perhaps it would be a good idea if you take that person, usually it's a she, and put her on the financial options page,
Right.
and so mom can meet her
Right.
before she shows up at the practice.
Trust and respect.
Trust and respect.
Build relationship. That's something you can't do with text all the way, and you can't do it with pictures all the way. You can get so far, but every dentist is going so far. So this just gives you that big boost, to get above. Okay, so that's using video on your website. Now let's go into some newer issues that dentists are facing. One of them is review sites. And just actually recently, Google announced that it's going to basically destroy all of its competition and only only position its reviews.
What a surprise!
Right? Yeah, we've been calling this for 2 years. We've been saying if Google continues to post reviews from consolidator sites, sooner or later the whole review process is going to become irrelevant. And then sooner or later, they'll recognize that. And sooner or later, they'll say, you know what, we are the 900-pound gorilla. We're only going to index our own reviews. Well, guess what? That's what happened. So our best advice to you, if you have some angry ex-girlfriend or boyfriend who's posting bad reviews about you to get back at you for something, just send your best patients to Google reviews, email them the link to how to sign up to Google, email them the link to your Google review page, okay? Get more of those people to post their true feelings and honest reviews of your practice, because every consumer expects 1 or 2 suspect reviews, right? I mean, when you go buy something, if everybody rates it at a 5-star, right? I mean, you're like, yeah, well, how many people are in this guy's family? You know what I mean?
Nobody at that store ever had a bad
exactly.
day.
Yeah.
Bad
Nobody
words
had a
to you?
bad day, right? So the great news, because we get these calls all the time. Doctor will call us and say, I got bad reviews on this site. What can you do? And we really feel bad when our answer is nothing. All you can do is drive people, and this is what we've been saying for the last 2 years, drive people to Google reviews. Ignore all the review consolidators, because sooner or later, like everything else, Google will win. And they just actually recently announced that they're about to win, or they are winning, okay? Yeah. So all those review sites, all the extra ones, they're going to fade into a distant memory. And drive your good patients, because those Google reviews do matter. They absolutely matter to your Google Places, to your Google business listing. They absolutely matter. So the more good reviews you can get on there, even if they're moderate reviews, even if somebody says, yeah, I love the dentist, but it was, I was really expecting that my insurance would cover everything, but I had a $30 copayment. That's not a bad review. That's a good review. Okay, just get everybody onto Google reviews, ignore the rest of them, right?
Yep.
All right. That's the internet. That is the material for all 7 segments. And now we are going to go into a rather lengthy review of all 7 segments, and we're going to list some questions that we get asked in our live presentations. Real dentists just like you ask us all the time. They normally don't even raise their hand, they just shout it out. All right, let's start at the beginning. How marketable is my dental practice? You know how marketable your dental practice is because we did the analysis and we sent it to you on your marketing plan, okay? So that question is definitely answered. What is the most impactful way I can improve my marketability? Well, We have a priority list. Actually, we should probably post our priority list on the thread. I think we
Yeah.
will. We'll post our priority list on the thread. And all you have to do is add up your marketable attributes, check off the ones you already possess, and the priority list will tell you what the next ones you might want to consider would be,
Right.
right?
Next question is, well, where are all the good patients in my area? Well, we've given you that information that's in your packet there. Basically, the good patients are the ones with the best EVS scores, and we went over that with you. So you possess the knowledge right now on where they are.
What do the consumers care about most? That was in segment 1. If you need a review, go back to segment 1. Segment 1 was probably the most earth-shattering information that we presented. I think most of the rest of it is the result of logical testing. Okay, but segment 1 reviews everything that the consumers care about. It's not the whole study that we did, but it's the pieces of the study that were the most profound, that gave us the most light, that will probably surprise you the most. They care about services, conveniences, and technologies, and any of those that are connected. You can connect technology with convenience. You can connect services with convenience. You can connect services with technology. Anytime you can connect them, any of those 3 categories, that's what consumers care about most. The consumers in the top half of the dental market.
Right.
The consumers in the bottom half of the dental market, all you need to do is grab 60,000 bar napkins, put free dentistry, drop it out of a helicopter, and they'll call, right? That's all you got to do. That's not hard. Top half of the dental market, those are the things that they care about. What do they care about least? We went through a few of those too, didn't we?
That was in the study as
That
well.
was in the study as well. That's a review of segment 1. One of them was the ethnicity, which I think is great. It's a great reflection on how our cultural diversity has changed over the years. I think if we did that 20 years ago, I think we would have gotten a different number. Education, continuing education. We learned that some consumers look at it like, what are you going back to school for? Didn't you pass the first time? Okay, so you kind of have to watch how you do it. You certainly shouldn't overemphasize it. You shouldn't make yourself the temple of continuing CE. Okay, mention it, but don't overemphasize it. What should your budget be for your particular practice? They know that, right in their marketing plan. How should you allocate it? You know that.
You know that too.
It's right in your marketing plan. Which should I invest in first? We went through that at least 4 times in these segments. We gave you that spreadsheet. It's in your workbook, that goes through your internal and your PR and your supportive and your mail. That's your first floor, your print media, and all that includes as your first floor of your home. And then your mass media is the roof of your home. You're going to build a nice marketing house. All the steps are right there in one of those 3 or 4 spreadsheets that we showed you over all these segments. What should you invest in first? What should you invest in second? That's already covered. Let's go through which mediums give you the best chance of success with the least risk? Internal.
Yep.
Right?
Followed by direct mail.
Followed by direct mail with the smattering of a website.
Yes.
Yes, somewhere simultaneous if you can. If you can't, do mail first and then use the money from you generate off the mail to get your website going.
Seeing this question makes me realize we left one thing out. Your signage.
Oh, yeah.
That's a no-brainer.
That's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Right. If you have good solid visibility, good solid car traffic, good solid foot traffic of any kind, and you don't have a restrictive covenant from your local municipality on signage restrictions or what have you, maximize it. If they say you can have a 6 by 36 square foot sign, have a 35 by 11 3/4 square inch sign.
Most important things, actually, if you're dealing with limited real estate there, so if you have to choose between phone number and website, go with the website.
Go with the website. Right, absolutely. I mean, that foot traffic is not going to remember 207-403-1437. They're just not going to remember it, but they will remember www.yoursmilecity.com.
Right.
Okay.
Signage also extends to internally. Say you have a promotion, or say you have a treatment that you're offering regarding sleep apnea. They're sitting in the reception area. There's a QR code on the sign. boom, right? That's signage with the use of a QR code.
Which promotion mediums support each other? The answer is, if they're done correctly, all of them. All of the prerequisite mediums support the ones on top. And if you remember, in one of the segments, I made it a circle. Mail is a smaller circle, print media is a little bit larger, and then your mass media is a larger circle. So if these people you're hitting 3 times, you're hitting them with mail, you're hitting them with your print, and you're hitting them with the radio. So it keeps driving everything in your direction.
And also any marketing effort you do will tie into your website,
That's
as
right.
we've explained.
Right. How do I compete in a very saturated dental market? I can answer that question. You understand how to promote dentistry. You understand what part of the market that you should be promoting into. You set your expectations properly. If you don't, and you expect too much out of a really saturated market, you'll bounce your dollars all over the place and you won't get anywhere. And you only invest your marketing dollars in the most least risk mediums, and you just deploy them consistently, track them, and watch them grow. All right, that's the consistency in an overly competitive market is your only chance.
Yeah.
Okay, we've told dentists to move. Dentists have called us and they said, Mark, I have a practice in Santa Barbara, has a zip code, one dentist for every 136 people. And I basically said, move. What are you doing there? Right? Okay, so that's how you compete. You compete consistently, like the Energizer Bunny. It's always beating the drum, always walking, never running. How saturated is my particular area or your particular area? You have those numbers. You know exactly what you're up against. You're either up against Pee Wee Herman or you're up against Mike Tyson. And if you're not going to move, you need a plan, right? Okay. What should I expect in return if I promote my practice properly? You gauge that against the doctor-patient ratio. If it's average, you're going to get average results. If you are in a great market, you're going to get better than average results. It's going to happen quicker. If you're in a more competitive market, it's going to take longer, and it's going to take probably a little more money and more patience, IENCE, on your part, right? That's pretty much what you should expect. I want to emphasize a particular procedure. How do I do that? The answer is very carefully. You don't ever want to put more than 15-20% of your marketing budget into promoting one thing.
Remember we talked about the niche trap?
Yeah.
You don't want to do that.
Right.
You instead want to give people multiple good reasons to choose you.
Right. An example of a place you could do that and get away with it would be AdWords on Google.
Or Facebook.
Facebook ads would be another great, just carve out a budget, $400 a month, create a Facebook ad.
Does your spouse snore?
Yeah,
goes right to your
right to your sleep apnea page. You know, something really easy like that, small budget amount. It's not going to kill, you're not going to break the bank. That you're safe. Nobody in the whole community is not going to think all you do is sleep apnea if you do that. But don't let it get crazy, because then pretty soon you're going to find yourself, oh my God, people are coming in saying, I do regular dentistry, right? Remember? You know, in the cosmetic days, the heyday, regular old patients would walk into client offices. Then again, they were a cosmetic dentist, and their own patients would come in and say, do you do root canals? Yes, of course I do root canals. But they niche trapped themselves. So even their own patients didn't know the breadth and the scope of the services they offered. It's perception, it's not reality. If there are multiple media options, like multiple print media outlets, how do I determine which ones give me the best chance of success? We discussed that. We went through media dilution. Okay, there's media dilution, and then there's competitive dilution. Media dilution is there's 9 newspapers that serve my area. Well, don't even bother with a newspaper, okay? Competitive dilution is there's only one newspaper, but there's 9 dentists in it. Don't even bother. Just say, okay, that's not for me. And just keep moving on, looking for a print media that doesn't have media dilution and doesn't have competitive dilution. How do I properly measure and project my return? And it's near and dear to my heart. First thing you do is you track every inquiry. Second thing you do is you make sure you know how many of those inquiries are turning into real live new patients, because every inquiry won't be a live new patient. And then you simply run a production by referral source report out of your practice management software. You understand that it's not going to be 100% accurate, because there's nothing that's 100% accurate in every dental practice in America, so you can't expect yours to be. But even if it's 80% accurate, okay, you'll still have an average revenue per new patient. And you know, after the first year, if you got a 3-to-1 ROI and you're bringing in the right patients, that first year ROI is going to double every 3 years for 6 years. You are, at that point, you're printing money, right? As long as you're consistent, you're good.
What are some of the free things we can do to promote my
Oh,
practice?
there's so many of those. Wow.
Wow, well, I believe we touched on that.
Yeah, some of them.
Press releases, for one thing, they're free.
Yep.
You say you're doing an event, candy buyback, whatever.
Social media
Yeah, absolutely.
participation is free. I mean, you can take testimonial videos with a flip cam.
Yeah,
You can write blog stories twice a month.
right.
You can delegate that to your staff. That doesn't cost anything.
Yeah.
You can reach out to people you meet in your community, and you could say, "Hi, my name's Bob. I'm a dentist. My dental practice is right over here on Market Street." Just reach out and say hello and tell people who you are, what you do, and where you are. We find that many dentists are very shy in that regard, and they don't like to say, "I'm a dentist." If you've been in your community for anything more than 10 years, if you're married and you have kids in your community, you're probably primarily connected to at least 100 people, who are secondarily connected to probably 1,000 local people, right? But you're shy. Many of you are very shy. Well, come out of your shell a little bit. "Hi, I'm Bob. I'm a dentist." It's not an admission of guilt.
I make beautiful smiles every day.
That's right.
I love what I do.
That's right. Come on over. We'd love to see you. What are the most common ways dentists get in their own way when promoting their practices? We probably spent half of this entire series.
I think we've beaten that.
Oh, yeah, going through that. What role does the internet play in my particular market area? Wow, if you're in a rural area, 2 dentists have websites in your whole county, the internet is something you should invest in, but probably something that you can just build a website and just let Google position it itself. If you're in a market that's very competitive, lots of dentists, suburban/urban area, then you're going to be spending more money on the internet if you want to play and compete. What are the most common ways dentists get in their own way? We discussed that. Are yellow page ads dead?
I'd say they're 3/4 dead. They're not dead necessarily in the rural areas, but certainly in urban areas they
Life
are.
support.
We'll give you our golden rule, right?
Yep.
If you can get in the first 6 positions in all of the yellow page directories in your area,
All of them.
with 30% of your budget or less, then it might be something for you to consider.
Right.
Okay. If you can't meet those criteria, and you won't if you're in major urban areas, because it's going to take way more than 30% of your budget, then forget it.
Right. There you go. That's our golden rule. It's been serving us and the people we help very well. And we've been using that golden rule now for probably 10, 12 years. So what role does the internet play? You know that. How do I properly quantify the number of inquiries from a particular promotion? Tracking number. I can't overemphasize that enough. You will be the ultimate CEO, the ultimate dental CEO, if you have that information in front of you. Is it important to quantify the number of inquiries? Obviously. What is my team's role in making this successful? Your team's role really is, many of you have computers in the operatories, but most of you leave the sole responsibility of filling in the referral field on the poor person at the front desk, who's probably the most gifted multitasker on the face of the earth. If you've ever sat at the front desk of a busy dental practice before, sometimes you're doing 7, 8, 9 things at once. And then the dentist will come out and say, "Well, how come you didn't fill the referral field in?" Okay. And I'm telling you, your front desk person's saying, dude, you have computers in the operatories. The referral field's right there. You have an assistant and you have a hygienist, and you're asking me about the referral field? I've got 3 kids hanging off of the ceiling fan. They're playing Nintendo with the telephone. I've got 2 phones ringing, one lady who's talking about her bill, and I'm making 3 appointments. Okay? That's the reality out at the front desk. So your whole team needs to be involved in making sure that the referral source in that referral field is filled in as accurately as possible, because sometimes your patients will just say yellow pages because they don't want to go through the cerebral overhead of actually thinking how they found you. But that's okay. Make sure that field is filled in as much as you can.
I think we've got enough questions there.
Yeah. At the end of all this, here's what we want for you to do. We want you to fill in the CE, your answers to the questions. Hopefully you qualify for the CE credits because you've earned them. We've rambled on now for 7 hours. I can't imagine your percent. Hopefully what you've learned is there's an awful lot of science and research and testing just in the game of promoting dentistry properly, based on the benefits of dentistry. Just like there is science, research, and testing in doing dentistry properly from a clinical perspective. It's no different. It's still research and testing. And when you're all done with your CE questions and you've gotten your qualification, we're gonna send you the book. You didn't do this course to get the book. Obviously, we're gonna give it to you. So we hope you have found this remarkably useful. We've enjoyed doing it.
We have.
And sharing the information with you. And thank you for devoting so much time to your practice. Thanks.
Thank you.